Hello, friends. Hello, loyal audience. It's been a while, but this is video number 8. I did video number 8, I mean 7, and did commentary 9 and 10. So this will be number 8. Um, and I mentioned earlier that, let me just repeat a couple of things here. As you can see, he will point at that, right? He will point at the pyramid with the 5-pointed star and the hexagons, and then this is like the eye, right? But then he will point at, and then as you can see, the smoke always denotes or signifies the presence of an entity, right? So either they're cohorting with certain entities about that very super xenomorph, or the granddaddy of all, the one that uh, Parker said it was huge, like, so apparently there is cohorting and, conjuring up devils and so on. So they're in attendance here. Let me take you back a little bit. Okay, here I'm going to make a comment on this, that I said this was Zion. I said this was, humanity, earth, blah, blah. But these 4 could be 4 kingdoms. So if you read the Bible, and you'd see that the 4 kingdoms, there's like 1 kingdom, 2 kingdoms, 7 kingdoms. Or if you want to read, or if you ever read about Daniel's explanation of a dream of Babylon. So this may be Babylon, this may be Egypt, this may be Rome, Persia, blah, blah, those are. So this here signifies Earth perhaps floating in space. And you got 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 kingdoms, 4 ages, 4 blah, blah, so this actually signifies something. I'm not going to guess, but that's what I think that's what I think is going on here. And again, here there is a grid. The grid is obviously signifies something. Here, I don't want to count. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I don't know. It may mean something. Here, you've got your this here. I have arrived at a conclusion is really a phallus, right? Or penis, if you will. And there's always those flexible conduits or wires, communication wires. So control is everywhere, right? Here is what it signifies. And then here you got those Zoroasters, magi's or magas, wings, right? Angels and so on and so forth, right? So this is a phallus, right? Meaningly here, what they're trying to say is this is just an ordinary prod, like cattle prod. Cattle prod, I explained this in the previous commentary or video, number 7. But that's what it is. So the plan is really to trap the xenomorph by way of marriage. Marriage to who? So apparently the attendance, or those who are attending this session, is not just the ones we see. The smoke says the ones we don't see as well, right? And then notice he's going to point it. So he's pointing at here, and she's exhibiting, like being receptive to something, right? I mean, we have to read this, right, the way it is. And he is eating as well. So here, that's going across. Could it be pointing to him? I don't think so, right? But here, right, here they're talking about marrying the person who must supposedly have that xenomorph, possessed by that xenomorph, right? They have such belief. Is it true? I can tell you that this is not true. The situation on Earth and in humanity and existence is far more complex than what these bunch are surmising, the makers of the movie, or authors of the script, and adapting ideas from their hidden compounds and, underground and whatnot, right? But that's what it is. The proposal now is for her to marry the person, and I will come to see that that person is not who you think it is. All right.
All the way here, all the way up to here. But damn sure nobody puts their hand on the end of it.
So that's apparently, as you can see, there are sparks there. I don't think these sparks, they probably talk about something, right? Here, well, I don't want to explain it. I don't want to be, it's not going to be expletive or, uh, uh, weird stuff, but weird, language, but you know what that is right now. So somebody is going to marry that xenomorph, and he's got one that really produces sparks. Right? I want to reveal to you something here, scientific, biological. Did you know that the nervous system of a man and the nervous system of a woman, when they're copulating, these two nervous systems do actually unite and join physically and organically, right? This is like, like that's when they join, and there's more than genetic materials being transferred in there. You bet your money on that. There is far more complex process that's happening in the brain and in the nervous system than just transferring genetic material, or sperms for that matter. The uh, 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 the two nervous systems basically unite. This is like bringing two circuits and connecting them in parallel, right? There are far more complex things that are happening there on nervous level, and the transfer of things that you never thought of, that happens there. That's why, tube babies and insemination and artificial uh, insemination and so on, it's not good, man. All right, let's continue. So yeah, his skin thinner than ours, right? You know what that means, right? So he's not going to be damaged.
But we'll give him a little incentive.
Incentive, right? The incentive that a man usually is, uh, is attracted by females and their ways and means and so on, right?
We're just satisfied.
Okay. So as I explained, that is now he's explaining the whiskers, right? Well, I'm gonna repeat it again. Jonesy is not exactly a cat here. It is signifying a cat. I will explain to you later what that is, right? He's gonna speak of it, right? He's gonna speak of it. I did explain it in one of the transitory videos, right? That I posted here or uploaded to my channel on YouTube. However, he's going to explain it now. They are talking about certain person with a cat's personality. It's far more complex than you think. That concept is adapted by those people, the makers of the movie and the writers of the script, and the hidden script actually is talking about that. It is also mentioned, portrayed as a leopard in 2001 Snake Odyssey. See my commentary on that, right? I have videos on that as well. In my other channel, I have two channels. So, the qualities of a cat, right? So that person have the qualities of a cat. The qualities of a cat are much more complex and much more sharper than you think they are. They are very conscious animals. So here I wanted to show you something, and that is, sorry, I have to cover the screen because this is my other account, right? Here you would see that there is a slime or whatever it is oozing out of the egg. And I explained this, here's the net and here's the green stuff, right? Green slime exploding out of the egg that comes out from outer space, and then there's nothingness here, right? As you can see, it's just that. So what they're talking about, that this is God, and he is the one oozing Islam, right? So the green color is always Islam. Coffee is always Arabs. Palm trees is always Arabs, right? That's what it signifies. It's a hint, right? Is some kind of allusion to who it is they're talking about. So here that's God, and that's the green color is Islam really, or Allah, or an Islam. And then the net here is they're trying to uh, uh, catch him or so on by so and so, but also by trapping his religion, his adherents. And for a joke, so this guy here is probably he's probably the xenomorph. Well, he directed the movie, so you never know. The conspiracy goes like, if he directed the movie, then maybe he is the xenomorph. And of course, here there's like 1:30:26. That's the timer. Otherwise, it's ALI Ali, right? So this guy is the xenomorph. No, just joking. All right, that's funny. All right. One more note here I'm going to make about this particular scene. Excuse me, let me adjust my poor quality studio. Hey, sometimes the contents are very important. The studio maybe, it's important, but not as much. So here I made commentary on this, right? I have a point to make. So here they recognize that the hunt was good, right? The hook has, they hooked the xenomorph from that area, which is, I told you, Arabia, right? Or, well, let's just say it's Arabia. That's where supposedly that green stuff came out of. They have a complex of the green, that green thing, and xenomorph. It's just being boiling in their heads for about 1400 years, 50 years by now. Will they ever overcome it or be able to disregard it? I don't think so. So,
Excellent question.
all right. So now they want to investigate, right? They're gonna question him, similar to an interrogation room. So here, this is like an interrogation room, right? A detective is asking him. See, they're verifying. They're trying to portray this woman as so and so. If they're talking, and I know for certain they're talking about Hagar. They're wrong. I don't think she will not. She hasn't sacrificed her son or conspired against him. But if they're talking about modern day woman, I think that's the mother of the cat, right? Let's say. Then she is very low quality. She has compromised their son for whatever that is, right? And maybe she kind of deemed him, concluded that he's no longer useful or blah, 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 blah. So she just sacrificed him for a certain cause in her sick mind. But, I don't think so. I think this is Hagar, and they're trying to portray her as such that she's not. And historically speaking, this didn't happen. It's really erroneous, right? Let's see. Okay, that's better. All right, so.
What's the last thing you do?
So his brain is washed. What does that mean, really? When the xenomorph supposedly took over his heart and soul and personality and spirit and so on, he disabled him. Now he functions in him as a body. So here I come to discover that they're really talking to the xenomorph or whoever is within, right? And then they trying to get something, like one day I was sitting next to a certain guy, right? That was in Houston. Back then, it didn't make much sense. But then he was next to me and he was my boss. And he was talking to a trainer. We were getting instruction on some computer stuff, right? Or project management or whatnot, right? And he spoke about hiding. He said he or she or whatever is hiding. And she agreed 100%. I was like dumbfounded. They were Who were they talking about? I really don't know, but it kind of reminds me, like I go back in time and it reminds me of what's going on here. They're trying to understand, they're trying to talk to somebody inside, but that someone inside refuses to communicate. So the one inside, the one who sees them, is no longer talking, right? Doesn't want to communicate, doesn't want to interact, or exchange things in, like, and so on and so forth. But he, the bearer or the host, is no longer in control of what's going on. His memory is gone. So here they conclude this is positive, right? So the hook is full. The big megalodon shark is caught now, is what they're thinking.
Hey, we went. Oh, we're on our way home. Yeah, back to the old freezerino.
So when he says back to the old freezerinos, he is talking to the guy inside, because now they think he's not answering their calls, but he's listening to them, right? Back to the old freezerinos. But now they're threatening him. Freezer in outer space. Never threaten anyone of that size with freezer in outer space. He may make it come onto you, right? Or he may make you go freezerinos. So now this guy is a materialist, right? So that's who they were talking. Here they verified by way of, interrogation room, or what is it? Lie detector test, or something like that, right? When I came from Syria in 1981, I was in a certain apartment, right? And then I wasn't doing much really for the first few days. And I remember the manager of the apartment, a white woman. I don't know, maybe she was Jewish as well. And she came and talked to my brother. And she said, like, maybe I can work in, around the complex, like maintenance or something. And we agreed, right? I was happy because now I can get a job and do stuff, right? I was there for like a month or so. I don't recall. I couldn't speak a word of English except yes and no. So they had to administer a lie detector test to me, right? And then I went there, but first we said, but I don't speak English. And then they said, that's fine if he doesn't speak English, just bring him here. So I sat down and they connected all these wires to me, right? To me, I was frightened out of my wits what they're doing. And the guy kept talking to me and I was like, I was frozen. I was frozen. And I think I flunked. I flunked not because I lied, I flunked. He asked me at the end, have you lied or something? And I understood that. And I was like, I don't know, I still remember that. To me, it was something new, like from outer space, right? And I was scared stiff out of it. I didn't know what's going on. So that's an anecdote for you to laugh at.
One more meal before bedtime, I'm buying.
Hey, now they're talking about capitalizing on the catch. Now time to cut the whale, the blue whale, or the, or the megalodon shark, right? Cut it apart and divide it among each other, but they had to be his friends. Notice. Now they're not calling him dead or whatnot anymore, right? You look dead and blah 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 blah, right? Now they're his friends, rapport, they're acquiring his trust and so on. They are working him out and whatever they believe is in him. Now notice here, I mentioned in the earlier video eventually that this was key, right? Or the one that is in him really, right? Because when they send him out into space, the pack of cigarettes was down on its side. But in the two other instances, it was sitting up, right, up on its end, right? But but now when they send him out, he's gone. Now here you can see, of course, those bowls with Zoroaster's wings, and then here there is a beer. So I don't know what the beer is really, but there are two personalities sitting here, two beings, two entities. The beer as well as the Bolaji, imperial. That looks like dressed like Arabs, right, with a turban and so on, and holding a galleon or pipe, smoking pipe, the fife in German and so on. And these are the commodities. These are the screens of the stock market, the tickers and whatnot, right? So everybody now is, and they're like working him out. The guys, they're working him out so that he can cough up whatever he comes. I made these comments before, but I thought I'll just make them again. And then here you have to understand what the heck is going on. This is tan, and this is white. White light 2, 4, 6, right? No, 6 here. That's where the money is, right? Right? And so on and so forth. You can read so much into that. I come to discover there's nothing haphazard here, right? And then here you will see those two dipping birds, right? Okay, I explained this before, but you know what? I thought I may actually add something on it. This is the crypt, right? Uh-oh, sorry. Okay, I pressed the wrong button. You know, this here, that's like a Sony. It's a beautiful Blu-ray player, but it's old. And this is too small, and I usually fat finger keys. All right, so this is the crypt, right? As I explained to you. So, you know, I explained all that before, how it is like a crypt, like a mausoleum above ground and so on, and 1516. But now, when we look further, we see that Jonesy is in one of those, right? And he is in the six, right? So what does that mean? That means those dead people, like with blood streaks oozing down and so on. So the process is, or the engagement or the affair is very bloody, right? Here, it's not as simple as it seems. There's blood here. Here, there's blood, right? And all these are dead and so on, right? So let's see where he is at. Maybe they should. I think he's in the six, right? And as I explained, this is the net that is showing on the old original poster that they're trying to trap those green Muslims and stuff like that. So making sure that the religion doesn't spread. But it's huge, of course. Right now, it's like nearly 4 billion in the world. So I think so, 15 and 16. Again, I may make like 15 is the area or turf of what's his name, the xenomorph, or the 5 maybe, and then the 6, 5 and 6, right? 1 6 and 1 5. Well, you occultists know what I'm talking about. I don't really. It is not locker, right? Says locker, but it's not a locker. What I'm seeing here is a crypt, you know, that's a slate for a coffin. Now, on the left here, you see that there are no blood. There's no blood, right? You know what? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's not in one of those bloody crypts and so on. Yeah, so this is just a different crypt or different. So as I explained, Jonesy now is really the xenomorph, and he's the person, if you will. He is the person. He's not a cat. They're just portraying him as a cat. He's a god, right? Similar to a person hosting a god is what they're saying, Allah or God. Similar to Space Odyssey or 2001 Snake Odyssey, 2001 Snake Odyssey, the leopard early in the movie portrays God, right? On Earth. I showed you this, right? Yeah, Jonesy is not your typical cat here. I'm telling you. And you see always, whenever you see a site like this, you would see the two dots, right, in the eyes, bright dots in the eyes. Here, they're denoting an entity. So if you remove the features in your brain, or you could do it with like something here, right? Cover him up, you will see the eyes of something within. That's what they're saying. Here, what they're saying, it shows in the eyes. Well, that's not the case, right? There is possession, yes, but it's not like that. If you see very strong eye, right, a very like dominant, very that eye that you cannot break, right? That is a strong spirit within us, right? And that's different between one and another, right? So you see it everywhere. It is the spirit. Each and every one of us has a spirit within them. Well, I don't know about some, they lost it altogether. Okay. So I'm going to stop here and I'm going to move on to start actually to begin from where we left on in video 7 and call this video number 8. Okay, we left off here. So now I'm going to focus in this segment on who I believe Ash is, who they're portraying him to be. I'm going to give you a heads up. They are portraying him to be a certain historical personality. We all know of, everybody in the world knows, right? But at the same time, they show him to be, right, uh, uh, not as we know him. We know him as a man who was born to a father and mother and all, and he's just gifted, right? At the same time, he received revelation. But here, in their mind, they're always confused, you know? They're always in confusion. They're flailing. They're just not, they don't know how to place him, right? And I do believe they think he is like has existed for a long time, right? Before materializing as, you know, as who they think it is. And that is Prophet Muhammad. You don't believe me? You will. Remember when I showed you him, right? Uh, 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 and he was looking at the microscope, and I said, there's a name there. That is his name. It was written in there. And here, if you look closely, I think at one point they even write it for you, right? You know, they even write it with those dots, right? Now, I want to make a comment about that time as well. Let me go back. Give me a second. Okay, here I explained this to be the facade of a temple, right? But then at the movie, I had thought of uh, a, uh, a different track or thread in the movie, and that is financial, and that is the United States being invaded, right, and taken over. JFK, Dallas, you know, where he was assassinated, blah, blah. I made these comments in earlier videos. However, here, although I'm telling you it's a facade of a temple or a mosque, right? But that could also be the Federal Reserve or the reserve of the nation, right? Fort Knox, maybe, I don't know. I also said this was a camera, but I looked again and it's not a camera, it's really lights, right? You know, one light, two light, you know, lights, right? Maybe it's a camera. And here's the safe, right? Where that gold and so on is locked. I want to reveal something else to you here. So I want to show you something here. You do your job, I do mine, right? Here, what they're showing you, this is, okay, this is Sarah, or this is descendant of Sarah, or Jacob, right? Or Rachel, Rachel, or Leah, you know, and so on, right? So let's keep it this way. This is reality. This is not anti-Arabism or anti-Semitic, right? Now notice what he does. This is very important for later explanation, what I'm trying to say here. He has designs on here. Remember when I showed you Parker trying to score on good old Lambert, and it didn't work while they were talking on the table? You know, I'll show you that in a little bit, but let me show you that here. Notice, look at him and his gesture and what he's going to do and the impression on his face. See, you think he's drinking milk. This is not milk. He's looking here. He has designs on hair. And that's the segment. When he was following hair and he attacked hair and so on, attacks hair, that's what it is really. He actually thinking about hair. He's interested in hair, right? But meantime, let's go back and I will show you Parker's advances. So look at Parker talking to Lambert. Yeah, good old Parker. He wants to score on good old Lambert. Notice how he addresses her. She's disappointed. She doesn't like the hint or the past. You know, he took a swipe with her or the past. Okay, we're back now. I'm not gonna go back. I promise you. I'll make commentary on this one afterwards, like a commentary number 11, hindsight or retrospect. Uh, but I explained some of that stuff in the transitory video. Is when I began to get blocked. My videos started getting blocked, and I really, uh, I really thought I'll make a transitory video because I didn't think they were allowing me. Why did they copyright it now? Even though I'm just using it for commentary like everybody else. I think I get a lot of views on this, maybe in the millions, and the Fox wants to collect some money or something of the sort. Okay, my comments are copyrighted for me, right? Their material is copyrighted to them, right? I'm just commenting on them. Whatever commentary I am making, that's copyrighted by me, right? All right, uh, so that's him. I'm telling you, that's who they mean by it. I'll explain it later. My evidence is very clear. I'll show you. And he was interested in here. Why? Because I'll explain later.
An explanation for this.
See, on his face, they will show you here, you know, this is the deranged sexual feelings reflected on his face. Notice how he laughs. You know, the laugh is that of a psychotic a person or psycho in the asylum, right? See, that look is not, you know, because he's a supposedly bionic, right? A robot. And then you saw how when the fight erupted between him and Parker, how he was able to hold off Parker, and you know he's very strong. They show him when during the fight later in the scene, right, that he's very strong. So now, as you can see, the way on the impression on his face and so on, this is not someone who gets like pushed around by a woman. I mean, if he attacked her later, he could simply attack her here. But here, this is not a surprise or disappointment. You know, here they're showing you that he's really interested in her, but his interest in a woman is not the normal one, right? He is really, really. I mean, he's like they're portraying him as a deranged, psychotic person, and then of course you get the brown color here. Uh, you know, we Arabs got some brown color. So she's bleeding. He's like he's like a rough housing type.
Robert?
And he cut off the communications. That's why here he's able to cut off the communications, disable the communication systems, right? Isolate her. Is if you recall when Dallas or JFK and Lambert and Kane went down the planet LV-426, right? And then there was problem with the communications. So as if to say he is controlling communication here and he's controlling communications back then. See, notice he's like, that look is a psychotic look, right? It's a psycho. Something similar to Michael Myers, you know, in Halloween, you know how he's got a mask on his face. You cannot know who he is, right? But the mask of sanity. There's a book called The Mask of Sanity, right? By an author called Harvey Cleckley. It's a psychological book, right? So what he's saying is there's some insane folks, they wear the mask of sanity, right? Project themselves as such. That's what they're trying to say he is here, right? They're showing him here as a psychotic person. He's into her, he's sexually deviant and so on. All that is false. We know the man historically, we know his history and so on. They say things about him that is not true. Notice how he laughs. You know, the laugh here, the chuckle, is in fact that of a psychotic person. And there is a description of the wife, one of his wives, and that's called Sophia or Safia, right? Which is an Arabic name, right? And they probably selected hair based on that description. What is the name Ash? Like I said, I don't know. Ash, well, you know what Ash is, right? But it could be Osh, right? Or Arsh, right? I really don't know. Uh, I really don't know. But there is a scene here where they burn him into ashes. Maybe that's what Ash is. I don't know. I doubt it though. Notice, this here is like he's sexually charged now. And what you thought was milk and so on, and what he drank when he was talking to her after she left, and then he picked up the glass of supposed milk and so on. No, folks, this is semen, right? Notice. So that's, I mean, it can't get any worse than that. He's giggling, right? The giggle sounds like that of a crazy person, you know, a nutcase or something. Did you hear that? So if he is that strong, why did he allow her to push him and so on in the first place? So look here. I mean, whoever did this did a good job on lying and misportraying somebody as a deranged person, right? Notice he's violent as well. You know, he pulls hair and so on. Notice brown color. That's the arrow, right? And here where I found my evidence, and I'll show you. Ash attacks. So if he's that strong, she did so-and-so job on him, just like that. It doesn't work, right? Notice those. Sometimes when there's something going on, one is bowing down and the other one is standing up. Is dysfunctional, right? So here, he is doing the work, or she's bowing down, and so on. The other thing I want to say is that white antifreeze or whatever it is, you know, coolant that you put in your radiator, maybe they're saying he's like he's not human, you know, he's not human. That's not the case, folks. They always were jealous of him and covetous, and you know, they just didn't like him. Still don't, but we know his history, and unfortunately, that's how they portray him. Now the evidence will come up, right? Jingling. Okay. So if you recall, he chooses a place that is dark. Notice the darkness of the place. Well, call it a bedroom, right? He wants to do stuff where, you know, nobody can see him, right? But there are some figures hanging out of the ceiling, hanging down from the ceiling here. This particular one, if you recall in one of the videos, when Sarah or Ash or Ripley got up and sat down on her console, there was that blue egg, which I mentioned to be Parker, and then there was a smaller pig-like figurine. I thought that was Brett, and then next to them, I told you I will explain it later. There was that figure there. It's hanging from the ceiling. So what they're saying, that's him. So he was, when he was on her console, on the top of her console, looking at her, he is watching her all the time. You know, I may want to show you that, right? It's that figurine here. So he was watching her. So he is something from above, right? Hanging down, right? From the ceiling, or say from heavens, right? And then he, of course, you get that here. That's him. That's who he is. They're saying is that he's a puppet from heavens or something of the sort, and he's a puppet of the xenomorph or whoever is God is, or Allah. They can't be farther from the truth. See? Let me see if I can slow it down enough to show you. Notice the look on his face, right? See the look on his face? So that's him, but there are others too. right? I don't know who these are. Maybe these are the other attendants, right? Notice he was like giggling and so on psychotically, right? As if here, you know, here, how you can imagine him as they're trying to portray him, falsely portray him. He is that little figurine here, that puppet that's hanging from the ceiling or connected to heavens, right? But here, imagine Michael Myers in Halloween, you know, Jason or Michael Myers or something of the sort. All only you just need to take off the mask is what they're trying to show him to be. So if you want to imagine that guy, imagine this guy. You imagine that monster in the movie Halloween or you know, Jason Takes Manhattan or whatnot too, and put a mask on him. You see, they have faces, those puppets, but one of them in particular is him. Or maybe he's 3 in 1, I don't know. So this is unmistakable. He is a sexual deviant. Here he's forcing himself on her, he's torturing her, and she is like, she nearly passed out. She cannot reject him because this is like a forceful rape, if you will. Okay, here goes my first evidence. As you can see, there are the wives, right? Now, back then, they used to marry. They were always. Excuse me for a second. Back then, they always married more than they were polygamists, right? Now, when Islam came, it limited polygamy. They used to have like, and this is in modern day, right? Some, you know, sects or religions are polygamous today in today's term, but in the non-Muslim society, there is what's called multiple partnership, right? You know, in Islam, it's you have to be responsible for it. You know, you have to be, if you want to be polygamist, you have to get married officially and support a family and so on. And you can only marry if you can support a family. So he was married, like he reduced the number, right, to 4, and then it was the first time in history a woman began to get her right, right? He dictated her right as revealed by Allah or God. So now the woman started to get inheritance, and the woman could now gets education. The woman gets rights, and so on and so forth and so on. It was him, right? But he was married to 9 women. However, the marriage, I don't want to apologize for him. You know, was relationships with other men and tribes and so on and so forth. And some women were very old, and they were like more of a resigned type women, you know, like they no longer want to be in bed or something of the sort, but he treated them well and honored them and so on. And they were just what's called symbolic wives, right? Out of the 9, right? One of them was Sarah, the Jewess, right? And not Sarah, I'm sorry, Sophia or Safiya, the Jewess, right? They say he was married to 2. No, he was married to 1. One is Rihanna or Rihanna, right? He offered her marriage, she refused, and he was fine with that, right? So, but he had 4 daughters from his first wife. When he was married to his first wife, it was only 1 wife. He never married again. 4 daughters, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Now they portray him as sexually deviant here, right? Would like to do so and so. I can tell you that he stated that he loves women, like we all real men do, right? But he was very private. You know, it wasn't like that at all. But here, what I'm seeing is something modern day that you find even in the state where they hate him most, right? It's why this thing is widespread, and that's not him, right? So as you can see, now you can see that that's him who they're portraying him, right? So here, what they're showing is sexual deviance, right? Notice what he does, right? So these are one of his wives. Now, what are the watches? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, right? And that's what I think he was married to, either 13 or 9. I do forget, right? That's probably here. Here, that's probably here. That's Sophia or Safiya, right? And she was like, she passed out. She was unconscious when he was doing supposedly what he was doing. So what they're trying to say is that she really didn't want to be here married to him. I can tell you that I know different folks. She was more than happy to marry such a great man. I tell you what, folks, I know that history. So the watches here means they took turns, right? And of course, they all arranged among each other, right? They had like different compounds or quarters, right? And they took turns, right? And that's what these watches means. They take turns, right? So the one blue, that's here, right? And that's here. And then there's the black one. You have to search religions and so on. The one is black and one so on. So I don't recall all the details about history, but if that's here, that's the Jewess, right? May peace be upon her. She wasn't as they say she was. And now you see that, I mean, they're really trying to portray man as a real sexual deviant. He was not like that at all. Oh, no, no. His wives loved him. He was one honorable man. Valor, knowledge, science officer. I'll explain that later. Now here they show you a photo of a very young girl, right? 6 years old. They accuse him of having married a 6 years old girl. That's not true, folks. That's his wife from his companion Abu Bakr, the daughter of his companion who became his first successor after he died. Now he betrothed to her, talked to her father and so on, and it was recommended for him, right? But then he realized she was too young, and then he forgot about it. Some years later, even years later, it was a chat, right? But years later, even her father, Abu Bakr, came and talked to him about it. And then he reluctantly agreed, right? But she was 12 and a half and in purity. Now, was that young? In today's term, yeah, that was young. And then after Islam, it was something very common and very widespread, right? To marry young girls, right? In other places, they sold their daughters at very young age, right? So even in Europe, even in Asia, even in Persia, even in Egypt, and so on and so forth, woman was back then before him was nothing really. They gave him as gifts sometimes, right? Uh, so so uh, so they accuse him. But after Islam, a little bit after Islam, that the age of marriage rose up, right? Rose up in due to that religion, due to him. So they accuse him of things that's not true. So these are the uh, items or evidence that I used to deduce that that's who they mean by that. Science officer too. Oh, there's more. Hold on. But he was not like that at all. No. Oh, he was not like that. Oh, no, no, no. So he's forcing on her, right? So she's passed out. She's unconscious due to his, uh, uh, his handling, the arrangement, his so and so. I mean, whoever think of that stuff, oh man, those who wrote the script, I feel bad for them, right? All right, I thought I saw something here. I don't know. So I don't know what I saw here. Here. I don't know. I can't read that. Diot pass blah blah. I don't know. Maybe you can read it. Maybe it's an anagram. You have to like reverse it or something. So that's him, the red one. Or maybe these are attendants, helping him or something. And then he had four daughters, right? So now he shows up, and then he's very strong. Notice. Let's see. Notice his movement. Notice his movement. Keep noticing his movement around his waist. See? Did you see that? The movement around his waist, forward and backward. So yeah, I don't know. That's her hand. Okay, that's her hand grabbing him, trying to fend for herself. So what they're trying to say is like against her will. I can tell you that's not the case, folks. I know. I lived in America for a long time, among those who wrote the script, and I can tell you, I don't think so. Notice, she is holding him, like hugging him, as if a woman trying to pull her son off a fight or something. They don't rough them up, they just like hug them or something of the sort. Notice. Keep observing Lambert. I don't know what was on that. Let's see, maybe I can catch it. On that magazine, there was like a letter or something. I don't know. Yeah, weak. I don't know. There's Chinese here. Looks like, I don't know. Really don't know what that is. Weekly, blah blah. So Chinese sex, Chinese porn. And Parker and Lambert. Notice Lambert is hugging him, but now they change color. Why they shift from one thing to another? Notice. From one state like a human to demonic or something of the sort, right? So I made commentary on the 4 before. That's the 4. Remember the egg? The egg itself has 4 lips and one thing in the middle, right? And 4 is all over the place. And it's also in the movie. I made some commentary in Arabic about the 1984, Burton or Brian playing the 5 and the 4 with Kane or John Hurt when he was breaking him. Okay, let's keep looking. So if he's that strong, why did he allow her to hit him and punch him and push him around in the first place? Usually in the olden days, there are some occultists, right? And they want to say, right? So they want to say, when they say A-A-H, right? Sometimes those occultists, especially the Sufis, right? They mean by it Allah, right? They remove the L before the A, right? I remember them. So he's gonna get him from behind. So as you can see, that's that. Even looking small figurine. Notice. So that's him. He's got 2 legs, right? That's that's even. Now here, the Prophet has 3 sons, right? 3 sons and 4 daughters. I explained to you about the 4 daughters. 2 died before he died. 1 died just shortly after he died, right? And that's the mother or the wife of Ali, right? And then 1 stayed alive for a while afterwards, right? His 3 sons died at as toddlers, right? Small age, right? Here, this guy here, there's 1, 2, and then you will see 3, right? 3 sons, and that's my other evidence. But then one of them is called Abraham, right? One of his sons is called Abraham. Let me find out something. Okay, so that I think is Abraham, right? Which I mentioned to be Dallas. I think he was Abraham as well. And his mother is a Coptic woman, Maria or Mary. That's his other son, right? Let's see. So here, if you slow this down, you will see that there are three different boys. There's one, right? There's one, and there's two. And here you'd see the palm trees, right? And so on, right? There's one, there's two, and there's three, I think. Yeah, I saw three boys. I think that's that one. See here, he's oozing, you know, that thing, what I told you there. As they showed his supposedly grandfather, Ishmael, wearing a transvestite attire, right? After he woke up, after the face hugger detached from him, fell off. So when he got hit, you heard that sound of the elephant, as I explained it earlier, right? So the elephant sounded again. So that's basically the fallen angel or Satan tearing down the prophet's work, right? There's a lot of truth to that, but it's really never a complete task, or complete, that work was never completed. Jesus. Now he knows Jesus. Right? So the one who's beating and destroying is Jesus or Christianity, right? Maybe Crusaders, maybe, you know, things of the sort. Europe against the Middle East and so on. They also show you that, you know, Europe against the Middle East in a movie or a series. I forgot, I will pass that. Yeah? God, right? So that's God according to them. Or sent by God, robot by God. So he never dies, really. Okay, I'm gonna keep playing this. I'm not gonna freeze it. I think I'm coming up to the end. I'm arriving at the end of this segment.
He must have wanted the alien. It's been protecting it right along.
So he knows about the xenomorph and he's protecting it. He brought it down from heavens, or was the channel for it, right?
Can you plug it in?
So now they want to use it to know things, because they, on their own, they don't know things. According to them, he's the science officer. Remember in some deleted scene where Brett says, "You're the science officer," and Parker say he was frightened, you know, he was scared, right? And then the science officer knows things, right? Well, science really existed by who portray as Prophet Muhammad and the Arabs, you know. They talk about Greece and whatnot. There's nothing there. It was all that you read in the university, the majority of it, if not all, is from them, right? They invented that, discovered that. Or if you go to the Justice Hall, that's their work, right? And so on and so forth. They basically, modern day humanity is them, right? Here they revived them because they have like complex thinking brains and so on. So they understand things, they know things. So they're bringing them up, some scientists or some scholars and so on, so they can decipher what's going on, because they read the complex materials that these Arabs, you know, produced and thought out and so on. Their genius intelligence, and you know, the Ripley is not up to speed. So, so now what they do is they wake up part of them, right, to explain to them, show them what's going on. Yeah, poor Ian Smith or Holmes. He had to endure so much, right? He's brown here. I mean, it shows red color due to my equipment here. You know, my setup is poor, right? I'm poor. Nobody loves me. So, but he's brown, right? So he's brown color. So he's like us Arabs.
Ash, can you hear me?
Yeah, he needs to be beaten. So they had to stab him in the back. His mother had to pull him out, right? That they're accusing her of being cohort, right, with them against her own son and his religion, right? But this devil here hit him from the back, right? They couldn't just beat him the conventional way or face to face, is what here they're trying to say. Well, at least they acknowledge it.
Bring back life forward. Priority one. Or the priority pursuit. Damn company. What about?
So the company is upstairs, right? Meaningly heavens, meaningly the angels, meaningly the upper world, right? You know, God, Allah, and His angels, and so on, right?
Allah, you son of a bitch.
No, oh, he's a son of a bitch, right?
Or the priority pursuit.
How do we kill Ash? There's gotta be a way of killing it. How? How do we do it?
No, see, you can't kill the cat.
Bullshit. You still don't understand what they're doing this game.
They never did, not now, never will.
Perfect. Ordering.
So now he is describing the cat, the traits or characteristics of a person, behavior or psychology of a person that he's talking about, or whoever it is, really is a cat. A cat is a perfect organism.
It's not so.
Perfection matched only by its hostility. A cat is hostile. You can raise a cat for 10 years in your house and hug it and sleep. It comes to sleep with you in bed and so on. If you get a little bit rough with it, oh, it'll switch position, attitude right there and then. It'll scratch you and snarl you and so on. No matter how much relationship or love or care or tenderness between you and her, between you and the cat, right? The cat is hostile. You know, it switches uh, position right there and then. I mean, its mood can swing from total calm to total hostility in seconds.
Good morning.
Yeah, we love cats. Purity. From what? Cats clean itself, blah blah. Survivor. Cat is a survivor. Now they're talking about a person here, right? Who looks like a cat, who behaves, who's got the traits of personality of a cat. Why? Because he's got that thing in him, right? According to them. Who is that? I think here they're talking about Muhammad or someone in this age and day. That's not true. If they're talking about the Prophet, that's not true. Whoever they're talking about today as a person, according to them, that's not true as well. That's not true. Delusions of morality, that's not true either. Morality has no delusions. Morality is good. According to them, morality is a delusion. Those who wrote the script and the hidden script as well, that you need to observe and understand on your own.
I've heard enough of that. I'm asking you to pull the plug.
Notice Lambert, right? Lambert is sad. Well, that's her offspring, right? That's her offspring. So she's sad, right? She probably didn't think or believe that such circumstances will arise where her own son is going to get burned, and she is helping against him. Crew expendable.
I can't lie to you about your choices. But you have my sympathy.
Yeah. I agree with him here. Their chances are none, are nil, zilch, nada, nothing.
We're gonna roll.
All right. I think here that's where the Ash name comes, right? I thought so myself, but I noticed elsewhere that I'm not the only one who noticed that. There's the tan here, and look at her sadness again, about him. And then look how uh, Parker deals with her. Here, I got two explanations for that. The way Parker talks to her and approaches her and handles her. I got two different explanations. One of them is real. I don't know which one, but I will explain both of them anyway.
We'll take our chances in the shuttle.
Blow up the sheet.
Notice, I think here he's trying to kind of soothe her feelings because he knows she lost a loved one. So he's trying to soothe her and blah blah, or maybe he's trying to seize the opportunity. Old Packard wants to, like he's drooling on a off-white girl, Jewish girl. He thinks he has the opportunity. Remember, he wants to score, as I explained on the table when he was talking to her about food. Notice, he keep noticing. But I think it's both of them. He's trying to soothe her feeling that she's not alone, that she belongs with them, and that they're going to take her. But she's sad, really. She's like, she's down and she's sad and she's nearly paralyzed by what happened. And maybe she was gonna stay, but now he pulls her, right? Like it or not. But he's trying to project the sense of friendship, of camaraderie, of family, right? But I think old Parker, he's dead now. I think he was trying to do some score here. But notice how Ripley is looking. Keep noticing. See? Man, Ripley is evil. No, see? Did you see how she looked at her? I can't believe this. That Ripley, man, he's got like she's like the onion, an onion. On the outside, she's the friend. On the inside, deep on the inside, like the bottom layer, the core, she's an evil devil. And notice, both birds are dipping at the same time. Or the one on the left, it was the one on the right, now the one on the left is actually bowing down. See, he's gloating. Notice how he looks. So notice how he looks at Ash, when he burns him. They're playing her. See, they're looking at her to see how she's feeling. But she's paralyzed. I mean, she's like, how the shock now, she's in shock. She just, when we're in shock, we just don't behave. I don't know what these are, Maybe you can explain them. This here looks like a car or something, I don't know. But notice at all that evil Parker, how he looks at Ash when he burns him with the flamethrower. Now they wait until Lambert is out and she's looking. She's not looking. Oh, look here. Oh, man. Okay, hence the name Ashes, I think. They're going to ashify him. But then here you will see those small figurines as well. They are burnt as well. No, wait a minute. That's not the figurine. That's something, I don't know. That's the broad, I think. So these are his compartments or followers or something of the sort, right? You know, he's burning the whole world of Islamdom. And dream on. Well, at least in the movies, hey, makes you feel better. Okay, so I'm gonna stop here and I will make a commentary on this later. You know, a commentary video on this later. And I think we still have 126 to, so we still have like 30 minutes. Yeah, something like 30, 32 minutes left on the movie. And hopefully we'll be able to do that in one video or maybe a couple of videos. And then I will have like that vulgarity type video. I'm going to use like jargon and parlance you never heard of about the movie and what I think of it, just in case they block it.
No bullshit.
Okay, so I told you, blocks in the walls. These are conscripts, and you know, the building brick in the wall. Remember, pink flue, right? So they're walking now among their armies and whatnot, right? So she seems to have recovered, right? I don't know.
We're gonna need two of their support.
Okay, here I'm gonna stop here. The coolant means money. They're gonna leave all those guys here behind. Everything's will be left behind. Everybody will be left behind. They're gonna survive on their own. Do you remember my commentary in the movie at the end when I showed you that Trinity and Morpheus, they extract that final product, which is Neo, and they leave everybody else burn it and then just go. But here they want coolant money, right, to smooth their way out. So when I showed you the explosion of the ship itself here in the transitory video, they leave only the blue. Every other color of humanity is gone. Okay, so I believe here, I'm gonna stop here and let's see. Yeah, 126, let's see. All right, so 126.11, so there's 6 and 36 minutes left. Hopefully we'll cover that in the next video. Have a nice day. Today is December 10, 24 and 8:17 p.m. I know I'm lagging behind, but hopefully I'll finish this one. Bye now. Take care. This is your host, Osa.